Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with another Total War Warhammer video. Today we're going to talk about the Chaos Dwarfs and whether or not they could be the possible pre-order for Total War Warhammer 3. So let's not waste any more time and jump right in. The Chaos Dwarfs are a much requested race to be included into the Total War Warhammer series. A combination of the heavily armoured resilient firepower of the dwarfs combined with the demonic and magical evils of chaos. On the tabletop, more specifically their 8th edition variants, they pretty much had everything. Strong infantry in the form of Chaos Dwarfs, extremely powerful artillery, access to a lot of monstrous creatures, magic, even their own spell lore, and some fast-moving cavalry with the form of hobgoblins. They were powerful, but then again they were a Forge World army, which meant two things. First, they were horrendously broken, and second, not a lot of people could afford to play them. Which is some of the reasons why they are so well requested for Total War Warhammer, and it's only a matter of time until they're officially implemented into the Total War Warhammer series. Many people, including myself, originally thought that they would be one of the core races for Total War Warhammer 3. This is because they are one of the last remaining races that had an army book. Their army book was, if memory serves, in 4th edition or 5th edition, with a supplement list being released in 8th edition during the Tamukan campaign. But there have been some theories online regarding the Chaos Dwarfs, and the possibility that we might see them sooner, where for a while now some people have been speculating that we might see them as the pre-order incentive for Total War Warhammer 3. These theories have more or less been popping up since the release of the Mortal Empires campaign, where a large portion of the Chaos Dwarf territories known as the Darklands have been featured there as a non-playable area. Little by little, as patches and DLC have been released, that area has been expanded upon slightly, with some of the previously non-playable area now being accessible with the inclusion of new provinces and settlements. In fact, on screen right now is a theory that was posted on the official Total War forums back in November 2019, just about a month away from the release of The Shadow and the Blade, which finally started expanding into the eastern portions of the unplayable part of the map. Take a good look at this image, and now what we're going to do is go into the current Mortal Empires and just compare it a little bit. The theory crafter was quite on the nose with a few things. They're not 100% carbon copies, but it's pretty damn close. All that unused territory mostly belongs to either hobgoblins acting on their own accord, or the Chaos Dwarfs themselves. That's pretty much most of the regions they actually have. It's important to note that lore-wise, the Chaos Dwarfs, while very powerful, are not a very large empire. If there are very little normal dwarfs lore-wise, then there are much less Darwizar. And since pretty much the grand majority of the Darklands are already here, maybe this would be the perfect time to actually implement them. If you look at the areas which are currently not playable, there is a lot of space in there, enough for a decent amount of new provinces and settlements to be added in, that's for sure. And with Creative Assembly every so often adding to this area, it could indeed be possible. With the grand majority of their territories already available in the Mortal Empires map, they could be a great pre-order incentive for Warhammer 3. They are highly requested, as stated before, so it would give a lot more incentive for people to buy. Naturally, Creative Assembly would want as many pre-orders as possible, and a highly requested race like this might be able to do so. But how could the Chaos Dwarfs be justified as a pre-order race? Well, there's a few things to discuss here. So the grand majority of the Chaos Dwarfs are featured around the areas known as the Darklands. While they have indeed been known to travel, they don't really settle anywhere else. so their positioning there is already sorted, which would mean that you would need Warhammer 1 and Warhammer 2 to access them. There really aren't that many places for them to take in the Vortex map in all honesty, which then means that you would require the first 2 games to be able to play as them, which I guess could be Creative Assembly's way as to pushing players to purchase all 3 games, which would then already guarantee that you would be able to download the Mega Mortal Empires campaign map, which we would be expecting a few months after the release of Warhammer 3. Creative Assembly could justify it with that. However, if that ends up being the case, then I at least hope that we'll see a rather hefty sale to reduce the price of Warhammer 1 and Warhammer 2's base games, or finally start seeing a reduction permanently in their pricing, as we would all start to be moving to the 3rd and final game of the series. There's a few other things to discuss too. For example, Creative Assembly had stated that there are no more race packs to come for Warhammer 2. However, this could be seen as the first DLC for Warhammer 3, so technically, and I'm going by massive technicality here, if this is a pre-order incentive for Game 3, it's therefore a Game 3 DLC. Let's just hope that the same issues with Norska don't happen again. And finally, a lot of people are hoping for the Dogs of War, also known as the Southern Realms, to be the pre-order incentive for Game 3. And yes, the Dogs of War would also make a lot of sense. I made a video on that a few months back. However, if we go by army books, Warhammer 3 is currently lacking a good race. Right now, for Game 3, we're expecting the Ogre Kingdoms, the Demons of Chaos, and of course the Dawi Zar. It's also very likely that we'll see Kislev upon release, as it is confirmed that Games Workshop is redoing their lore and adding in new units for a new tabletop game, which also means it's very likely that Creative Assembly will take from that lore in terms of creating Kislev as a playable faction. So that's 4 races, 2 evil, 1 neutral, and 1 good. I believe Creative Assembly stated that upon release of both Warhammer games, it was more common to see players playing as more good factions. In Warhammer 1 that was the Empire, and in Warhammer 2 that was the High Elves, more human-like factions at that. So it probably would make sense to add in the Dogs of War as a base game faction for Game 3, especially since lore-wise they have a bunch of different cities and outposts all throughout the Warhammer world. They can literally be anywhere. Whereas the Chaos Dwarfs, as we've discussed before, are mostly centered around the Darklands, so there's a bit of an area constraint right there. Of course, it really depends as to what the first map for Warhammer 3 will be, and whether or not it will feature the Darklands fully or just a small part of it. And as always with these types of videos, it's pure speculation, but I think that the Chaos Dwarfs could technically be a strong contender as a pre-order DLC incentive. But what do you guys think about the Chaos Dwarfs being a pre-order incentive? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion. I am rather curious to see what you guys think, as we've already discussed the possibility of Albion and the Dogs of War, but the Chaos Dwarfs never really came across to me as a possibility until very recently, where I was chatting with some subscribers. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games, where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel has been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.